present loss of audio earlier on. Yes, I said you're most welcome to another edition of International Desk. You all recall that on Sunday, the U.S. President Joe Biden, 81 years old, he took a stunning step by withdrawing from the presidential elections and nominating, endorsing his Vice President Kamala Harris to be the presidential candidate for the Republicans. And also, one of the events that happened ahead of the election was the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. Now, this week we're taking a look at how all these events will impact on the elections come November 2024. I have with me today Akintoye. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Moji. Good to have you. Good to be on the same show with you again today.
Oh yes. Now, attempted assassination. The President the President Joe Biden, beg your pardon, in a stunning way, decided to step down. What is your take on this?
All right, I think there is a twin question in terms of the mentioning of the attempted...
No, let's focus on that of Joe Biden first.
Okay, so if you want to focus on Joe Biden, I think it's a call that is long due. It's something that they've tried to placate, they've tried to cover up, they've tried to make it as invisible as possible. You see a man in Joe Biden who is experiencing what is called cognitive decline. He's becoming very senile, talking about entering into or living and existing in what is called decrepitude, meaning that strength is failing him. He's aging at a progressive rate, and so both physical and mental strength is failing him, and the party, the Democratic Party, and the allies and the sponsors and all the fans, they keep, placating it, they keep covering it up and giving a false narrative that all is well with Joe Biden. And don't forget, Joe Biden himself keeps putting himself in the race like a horse, like a stallion that is capable. But the optics are self-evident that this man can't do it. Look at the situation where he tripped and fell so disastrously by a sandbag. We in the media space are used to sandbags. Sandbags are not something that should be able to bring about a collapse of a man that is physically strong. He should have been able to snap out of it. But look at these several gaps. Sometimes he's in a room and he doesn't even know the room which he is in. Sometimes he stretches out his hands like he wants to shake somebody that does not exist. The last debate they had at the CNN organized debate, he got into the place. Don't forget, there were no audience in that hall. And he got into that place and he was waving to an imaginary audience. That tells you that cognitively is not there, cerebrally is not there, and the intellection is totally abysmal. And so the fact that the likes of the Obamas and the Clintons were able to prevail upon him is indicative of the fact that they understand that if we put this man forward as our best fit forward, we are definitely going to lose.
But with all you have said, if he is unable to contest due to health conditions, age-wise and all that, should he still continue as the president?
That's an excellent question, because my meditation and contemplation over the night is the fact that he shouldn't have just pulled out of the race. What he ought to have done...
Became the first woman of color to become the vice president of the United States. What do you make of all of this? Would you say the impact of the endorsement now, do you think she can actually become the candidate for Democratic Party? And is America actually ready for a female president?
I think you are synonymous to very deep, very intelligent questions, and that needs a lot of unpacking. The truth is, two things are on the table now: is likability, is electability. Kamala Harris is going to pull up a fight. Is highly electable, highly liked, in terms of the fact that she's going to be compared to Joe Biden, that the people have obviously seen is ineptitude. Having said that, Kamala Harris, the U.S. does not need a female president at a time like this. The U.S. is going through an unprecedented exhibition of weakness on the global stage. I cannot see Kamala Harris in the same room with Xi Jinping. I cannot see Kamala Harris in the same room with Putin or the president of North Korea, for example. You know, the United States of America has depicted, exhibited, and showed to the world enough weakness in Joe Biden for the past 4 years. Don't forget the pullout from Afghanistan. Don't forget the incursion and taking over of Ukraine by Russia.
But what has gender got to do with leadership?
Beyond gender, I don't want to sound misogynistic, but beyond gender, you need someone who is tough, whose action is matched by his words. And that is only depicted in Donald J. Trump. Don't forget, 4 years of Donald J. Trump, there was no new war in the history of America. That was one of the the only president in modern history that never started a war from beginning and the ending of his tenure as the president of the United States. So in Kamala Harris, let me tell you the persona behind the personage called Kamala Harris. She's someone that has a lot of questionable, unprecedented characters that will not present the United States very well on the global stage. If Barack Obama's wife, talking about Michelle Obama, has been the best foot that the Democratic Party has put forward, I will not say what I've just said. Maybe my coinage talking about a woman president is the issue, but I think Kamala Harris is not the best that can happen, and that's why you discover that even though Michelle Obama is not interested, Obama as a cerebral intellectual understands that he cannot afford, especially at this time, to endorse Kamala Harris, knowing the fact that America needs a figure right now. America needs to continue policing the world. So a Kamala Harris who laughs ostentatiously, boisterously, cannot be the image of firmness, cannot be the image of scrupulous leadership that the world needs right about now. Don't forget, and I think I need to say that also, that I'm highly disappointed in the 2024 American election, because the rhetorics are not like what happened in the United Kingdom in recent times, where you see them debating issues, cross-fertilizing ideas, synchronizing facts, and strictly staying on the substantial issues at hand. But in the United States of America, it has been personality attacks, abuse, insults from one candidate to another, especially when Joe Biden was running. You know, Joe Biden will tell, on the national debate or on an international debate, you will hear Joe Biden saying that President Trump slept with prostitutes, slept with porn star, and then President Trump will also retaliate and, you know, describe how...
Well, probably one of the, it has to be selling points, and you just have to bring out the negativity of that candidate to tell you, I'm just assuming. Because somebody that is that has such flaws, you can see what happened when he was president. It wasn't about unity, and that is what Kamala Harris is preaching now. Okay, so I think if I may just land on my point, that has not been the pattern that the United States of America has always deployed. They have always deployed facts over fictions. And so in this case, they're just abusing one another. Immediately, Kamala Harris appears to be the nominee of the Democratic Party. What happened is Kamala Harris began to depict and paint Donald Trump as a fraudulent guy, as a predator, as one who rapes young people, and so on and so forth, a criminal, essentially a criminal. And Donald Trump, as you can expect, also used one of the most derogatory language to describe Kamala Harris. Now, essentially, I think you should bring your best foot forward. Tell us what it is that you know you can do that nobody else can do. Tell us your track record. 2024 presidential election. Let's now come to acceptability globally now. Since the endorsement, since when President Joe Biden made that announcement. She's been getting support, congratulatory messages here and there. So let's talk about the global acceptability by world leaders now. Do you think if elected, if nominated, and will she get that support to pull through?
Okay, so I want to start with an example or an analogy. You are in a luxury ship, for example, and then the ship is capsizing. You know, very luxury, plated with gold, you're enjoying the best of life, then the ship is capsizing, and then you have to jump into a relic boat. At that moment, all that will matter to you is that relic boat because it has the capacity to save your life. And so what has happened to the Democratic Party is the fact that they've gotten someone to rescue them from a sinking luxury presidential boat called Joe Biden. So this kind of support, the kind of embrace that Kamala Harris is enjoying at this material time is predicated upon the comparison of what it used to be or what it could have been. A Joe Biden that would have been 86 years old at the end of his second tenure. And so they are happy that somebody has come to their rescue. So that's the kind of support they are getting. Now on the international scene, don't forget, how was Kamala Harris, how was she able to get the nomination? How was she able to become the vice president of the #1 country in the world? That happened based on a principle that governs the United States of America, and that's the principle of the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And so it means that whatever you do, find a way of getting maybe the black vote, or find a way of explaining equity and bringing about diversity and inclusion into whatever ticket it is that you have. And so that's going to pose another problem in terms of the fact that now the Caucasians, now the true Americans, you know, the whites, let me be explicit, they are now going to be fighting to become the #2 from, you know, all over the world, Middle East, you know, the documented immigrant that came into the United States through the North border, over 8 million people. And so when he keeps talking, it's going to sound like he's a racist, it's going to sound like he's divisive. But truly, when you love your country, you don't want it to run down. So that's what I think in terms of that. I've forgotten your second question, which I think is very important.
No, I mentioned that of age.
Yeah, so talking about age, yes, that's the fact that there's a flip. There's a sudden flip talking about the fact that Joe Biden was attacked repeatedly on the fact that he's too old, he's too senile, and now the table has turned. Yeah. So we now have a younger, very energetic Kamala Harris, very oratorical, very vibrant, blatant, and frontal, and compared to Donald J. Trump that is now in his 80s. But whatever it is, I believe that Donald Trump has the gravitas to pull through. Don't forget he has done this before. He has the structure. He has his own money. Yes, don't forget the kind of endorsement that Donald J. Trump has. Now he has the endorsement of people like Mark Zuckerberg, people like this ex-guy, this SpaceX and
Elon Musk.
You know, so I think that is going to count for something.
Now let's move to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. What is your take? It's a kind of, it seems as if people are now having sympathy on him. Will this gel at the end of the day?
You know, there are some things that are orchestrated against you, but at the end of the day, it works in your best interest. If I were to argue, it looks like the optics for me, even though I love Donald Trump, but what happened, what the United States of America system allowed to happen that was supposed to be detrimental to Donald Trump is now currently working in his best interest. Just like I mentioned Elon Musk. Elon Musk was never a supporter of Donald J. Trump. What happened was that when he saw the optics of the assassination attempt, it felt like, how did we denigrate as a nation to this point where the Secret Service were inept in their duties, and they could allow a sniper or a shooter to come upon the roof within 120 yards to a presidential candidate and a former vice president. So he felt like this is totally...
Former president.
Yes, former president. And he felt that this is horrible. And so he put all his weight into Donald Trump. Don't forget, Donald Trump has not only survived assassination, he has survived all kinds of things, talking about imprisonment, talking about character assassination, and so on and so forth. And so the fact that he now, you know, Donald Trump is about 6 feet 4 inches, weighing about 220 kg, 220 pounds. In a situation where after he escaped by some millimeters the bullet, he raised up his fist and, you know, demonstrating and showing strength. And that is what the real Americans want. They want a situation where the rest of the world can respect and fear America. They are looking for a global watchdog, which America used to be. Don't forget, Russia, I repeat, will not have had the temerity, the intestinal fortitude, the gut to invade Crimea or to invade Ukraine, as it were. But in a situation where Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, and immediately about 13 to 18 soldiers, Marine Corps, were slaughtered and nothing happened. It's a signal to the rest of the world that America is weak, America is not as powerful as it used to be, and we can do what it is that we think we can do. Let's
talk about, briefly, in just a few seconds, your predictions, or is it's too early?
It's not too early, just like you know that 24 hours is too long in politics, but if I want to stake my money on it, I'll stake my money on Donald J. Trump. Let's make America great again.
Well, it's good to make your country great. Okay, that's about all we have for you on International Desk this week. Many thanks to you, Akintoye, for coming. And I enjoy you to join us same time next week for a fresh edition. Good morning.